Who was Heracles? Heracles, more commonly known by his Romanized name Hercules, is a well-known hero from Greek mythology. He is more popularly known from the Disney movie of his namesake and from his portrayal in the mainstream media over the past century. However, the ancient Greek stories tell a different tale than the one you may currently know. Hercules was the son of Zeus and the mortal woman Alcmene. One night, Zeus descended upon the town of Thebes in Greece and disguised himself as Alcmene's husband Amphitryon and consummated with her. Later that same night, the real Amphitryon arrived home from war and also consummated with his wife. This resulted in Alcmene becoming pregnant with heteropaternal twins with different fathers. These twins were to be named Alcides and Iphicles. On the twins' night of birth, Hera had knew of Zeus's adultery. Hera made Zeus swear an oath that the child born that night to a member of the house of Perseus would become the High King of Mortals. While Heracles was a descendant of Perseus, so was his cousin Eurystheus. Making Zeus swear this oath, Hera then descended to Alcmene's chamber and slowed the birth of her twins. She did this by forcing the goddess of childbirth, Eileithyia, to sit cross-legged, trapping the twins in the womb, causing Eurystheus to be born first, making him the High King of Mortals. After Eurystheus' birth, Alcmene's servant lied to Eileithyia, telling her she had already given birth. This caused the goddess to uncross her legs, allowing Alcmene to give birth to Alcides and Iphicles. After the children were born, Athena, the goddess of wisdom and the patroness of all heroes, took Alcides to Hera. But Hera did not recognize the child, and thus so nursed him out of pity. Alcides, having suckled divine milk from Hera, was granted his superhuman powers. But upon learning of Hera's ire for her child, Alcmene renamed Alcides to Heracles. Heracles, a germination of Hera and Kleos, meaning glory in ancient Greek. This name meant the glory of Hera, but this did little to lessen Hera's hatred of Heracles. When Heracles was only 8 months old, Hera sent 2 large serpents into the twins' chamber. But Heracles grabbed a snake in each hand and strangled them to death, later being found playing and giggling with the snakes as if they were toys. Now, in Heracles' youth, he accidentally killed his music tutor with a lyre after being scolded for errors in his playing. Subsequently, Heracles was sent to tend cattle by his foster father Amphitryon. While tending the cattle, he was visited by the nymphs, Pleasure and Virtue. They offered him a choice of life, one being a simple and easy life, the other being a harsh but glorious life. Heracles, of course, chose the latter. After coming of age, Heracles married Megara, the daughter of King Creon. After siring children with Megara, and proving himself an unerring marksman with a bow and arrow, a champion wrestler and a possessor of superhuman strength, Heracles was driven mad by Hera. In this murderous frenzy, Heracles slaughtered his own children. And after Hera had left him and coming out of the madness, he was stricken by grief from what he had done. And to atone for his crimes, he was sentenced to perform a series of tasks or labors for his cousin Eurystheus, the king of Mycenae, resulting in the 12 labors of Heracles. In the course of his labors and afterwards, Heracles accomplished many amazing feats. He once forced the god Poseidon to give way in a battle. In another encounter, he wounded Ares, the god of war himself. And he also was told to have wrestled the great god Zeus, his father, to a draw. He even once temporarily relieved the Titan Atlas of the burden of holding up the heavens. Heracles is said to have rescued Prometheus from his eternal torment by Zeus for giving humans fire. He also became an Argonaut and aided the gods in their battle against the giants in the Gigantomachy. He also captured Cerberus, the three-headed guardian hound dog of hell, and this list continues for quite some time. Later in Heracles' life, he had taken Deianira as his wife. While traveling, a centaur, Nessus, offered to carry his wife across the river while Heracles swam it. But Nessus was mischievous in his intent and tried to steal Deianira away. Infuriated by his action, Heracles shot Nessus with arrows drenched in the acidic blood of the Lernaean Hydra. In his last breath, Nessus gave Deianira his blood-soaked tunic, whispering to her it would excite the love of her husband. Now, years after, Deianira heard rumor that her husband Heracles was interested in another woman, and had the tunic sent to him, remembering the words of the centaur. Now, Heracles, upon donning this tunic, had his skin rent and dissolved by the poisonous blood, thus ending his life. Heracles was the only hero to become a full-fledged god upon his demise. But even in his case, he also had a mortal side. Heracles received special consideration because of his participation in the battle of the Olympians during the Gigantomachy, helping defeat the giants in accordance with Hera's prophecy that the gods' victory would not be accomplished without the participation of the son of a mortal mother. These giant sons of earth had stormed the godly citadel of Mount Olympus in a hail of flaming oaks and rocks. And the deities of Olympus would never have prevailed without Heracles and his bow. By virtue of these spectacular achievements, even by heroic standards, Heracles was given a place on Mount Olympus and a goddess for a wife. But one part of Heracles had come not from his father Zeus, but from his mortal mother Alcmene, and thusly that mortal part was sent to the underworld. And as a phantom, his mortal self is said to eternally roam the Elysian fields in the company of other heroes. This was Heracles' legacy. If you learned something in this video, feel free to leave a like or comment. And please do subscribe for more mythology every week. And I once again thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for the next tale.